Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over my DIY conveyor dryer. Now I've had quite a few questions regarding this dryer. People want to see how I put it together, so on and so forth, and I really haven't had time to do that until now. So without further ado, let me go ahead and first we're going to start out and I'm going to show you how the shirts go on this thing. Most of you guys know, but some of y'all may not, how this works and how the mechanics works for this, and then I'll explain the parts that I use and how I achieve this conveyor dryer. Okay, so what's going to happen is you print your shirt, you pull it off the platen, which normally I'll have two hands to do this, but I'm only doing it with one. You place it here on the conveyor belt itself, and that right there, fellas, that right there, print family, is the speed of the belt. One thing about this conveyor dryer is it's only one speed. There's no way to change the speeds. There's no way to adjust the heat. Keep that in mind as we go forward and as I show you how this conveyor dryer works. Okay, we're going to go ahead and let that go through, and as it's going through, I'm going to do some talking to you all. I've had this conveyor dryer for roughly 5 years, and I've used it, and it has worked really good through those 5 years. I haven't had to change a lot of parts on it. One part I have had to change is the conveyor dryer, or excuse me, the rotisserie motor here. I had one burn out, and it burnt out actually the beginning of the year, and I had to get that. But they're easy to replace. They're 50 bucks or less. You can get them on Amazon. I'll leave links in the description below for all the parts that I've used if you guys want to try to put one of these together for yourself. Okay, the belt, and on my current setup system, the belt that I have is 24 inches or 2 foot. It's a metal frame, or excuse me, it's a metal screen. You don't use neoprene, that sort of thing, because it will melt. Anything that you're doing, any parts you put in here, you got to think heat. Okay, so it's got to be able to take the heat. With the current setup that I use, the internal chamber will get to be roughly 360 degrees. I have this set up for plastisol ink, not for water base or not for discharge inks as well, because you need to have forced air for both of those. Now, having said that, you're able to put like a blower or something if you want to somewhere on the system itself or on the side, forcing air through the garment or whatever you're printing on, and it will work that way. I don't have it set up because I just do plastisol inks, but you can, just to let you know, you can do that for water-based as well. Now, if you look on the top here, I'm using these quartz heaters for the heating sources. During the summertime here in Houston, it gets so hot, 100 degrees and like 81% humidity. So during that time, I only use one of these heaters. During the winter time, I can use both of them because it gets cold here. In fact, this last winter, we had a bunch of pipes freeze and stuff at our neighbor's house and bust. We had a big freeze that came through here in snow, which is unusual. But anyways, I use two during that time because it heats the shop, plus you need the extra heat for the plastisol ink. And now also too, let me take a moment here and show you the shirt's coming out. And according to my camera, the whole time I've been talking 3 minutes 31 seconds. Okay, so a couple things I need to show you here. As you notice, as it's coming here, it's going to fall and hit the floor. So normally what I do with this setup, I have this set down low for a reason, and I'll explain in a moment why. So you're going to want to do one of two things: either have a box here, or grab a lid, something like that, flip it upside down where it's clean, and let them just pile up here. That's the way I do it, and it works out pretty good. Now, it's not hot because I don't have the heaters on, because we're just talking here. Okay, let me tell you the reason why I have it set so low. If you look around in my shop, this is also a garage, which I don't have a whole lot of room. I do have to store stuff in here other than my printing press and screens and that sort of thing. So I had to have a compact area. That's why I have my press on the top of the stand and then my screen or my conveyor dryer below it. Now, if you were a screen printer and you want to build one of these things, but you don't want it set up like this, you don't have to set up it like this. You can have it up higher. That way, you pull up your shirt. It's at right here at this height. You just drop your shirts on the conveyor right here and let it go through and drop in a box, whatever. That will work. This is just a setup that I have that's working. Now, another thing that you could do is these metal rods here, these metal tracks here that I have, you could get another metal track and angle it up on each side here, and you take the screen below this one and then up, and then it could drop in a box too if you wanted to do that. I opted not to do that right now. So that's how this works. I wanted to first let you see how the shirts go through the conveyor dryer. Now we'll begin talking about the different components of it, how I put it together, that sort of thing. Alright, let's go ahead and start. I kind of mentioned earlier that this is a rotisserie motor. So with the motor, you can either go this direction or that direction by just turning off, turning on, and then it'll redirect. So either way you want it to go, you can always change that. That's not a problem. But like I said earlier, one speed is all you get, and that's the speed you get. Okay, so now back to the screen. This is a screen that's 24 inches. You can make it however you want. This particular screen I had a special order online because none of my local hardware stores had this particular size in stock. So I'll leave a link to some of these that are good options if you want to check those out. Okay, so you have this system, and then as you go through, okay, this is PVC. The reason why it's PVC is I got caps on the end here, and then this rotisserie motor has a spike that goes all the way through. That way you have equal movement on this here, the one that drives it. This rubber that I have around the PVC, because the PVC here on this end and then on the other end is not going to hurt because it doesn't get hot enough to melt the PVC or anything like that. Now when you start getting to the rollers in here, you're going to want metal. Okay, and those I'll explain to, those are going to be a different type of than what you're using here. Okay, so this is PVC, this is rubber that's around here, and this is like stuff you could get from your tool chest. You know, the rubber that you have down that you can put in the bottom, that's what this is. Or you can use mats or whatever, as long as it grabs a hold of the screen and does what you need it to do. Okay, now talking about these metal ones, these are just metal poles that I got at Home Depot or Lowe's, and then inside here you have on the ends are wheel bearings that are from wheelbarrows. Try to say that 20 times fast. Okay, so they're through here and they're just bolted on the side here, and I have them as you go through. Let me pop the top off here. Okay, let me pop this one quart heater off so you can kind of see maybe a little bit inside. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 of the metal bars, rollers, in the center here as it goes through the chamber, and then the ends are PVC wrapped with the rubber, so that way it connects and the belt stays on there, stays true. All right, so we've just discussed about the rotisserie motor. Okay, and this is just wood. All right, and then these metal tracks on each side here. You'll find these tracks in Lowe's or Home Depot in the electrical supply section. Okay, those are for like the drop-down lights and that sort of thing. Pretty cheap. They're like 8 feet long, and I have 2 of those. Okay, and then with those, they're tied together by these rollers. Okay, this, like I told you earlier, this end and the other end are PVC rollers. All right, and then I have 3 spaced equally from this side, middle, and over that are metal poles that I got at Home Depot or Lowe's. Cut those ends off, cut it to length, and then put the wheelbarrow bearings and the ends, and that's how you get the movement of the belt. Okay, now I'm going to pop some pictures up so you can see. Now this is the interior side of what's on the bottom of this. Okay, and I lay where the wood is that you see there, I laid out baking pans. Okay, the baking pans are laid flat across here like this, so that way it protects all the heat from protects all the wood from heat that comes down, because you have constant heat when these are on, just constantly bearing down. Okay, so you want to try to protect as much as you can. Little side note here, this right here is the same type of stuff that you use for heat gaskets on your engine, and that's high heat, so that's what's put my belt together there. All right, let's talk about the heat sources. Okay, these are quart heaters that you use basically for garages. You know, you can get those online. I'll leave a link below. And I have 2 of those in here. Depending upon what you're trying to do, if you want to do water-based like I spoke to you earlier, you're going to have to put a ventilation system of some sort that has a fan blowing in there. So you may want to get rid of one of these, you know, and maybe put this long ways. and then have air shooting directly into the chamber, you could do that. There's other videos on YouTube that shows you how to set up, a DIY conveyor dryer for water-based inks, and it'll show you the fans they use. Okay, let's talk about the chamber itself. The chamber, the chamber that I have is made out of plywood, top, bottom, sides, all of it's plywood except for the gates. I used MDF on the gates. You can use plywood, but the reason why I used MDF is because I had it available and I just ripped it to the size I needed, and it works perfect. It's all together with bolts, so you can adjust up and down. So you can bring your gates up and down. They're on both ends, so you can adjust each side how you need it. Depending upon if you're doing shirts or fleece, you may need to adjust the height of the gate. Okay, 3/4 inch plywood, and it's wrapped inside with heavy-duty aluminum foil, and I use the aluminum AC tape. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get some if you're going to try to build one of these. And then it's all put together like that. Just make sure, when you're putting this together, have the thoughts of heat, because that's what it's going to be, heat going through here. So you want to try to keep it as heat-proof, fireproof as you can, okay? And so that's why you're using the heavy-duty aluminum foil or aluminum siding, whatever you're using on the interior side of that, okay? And then that way you're good to go. And then below the chamber, below the track itself, I have baking sheets that's lined all the way across that protects the whole entire bottom of the whole conveyor dryer. Okay. All right. So that's it in a nutshell. So that's the chamber, and I'm showing you some pictures. I'll show you some pictures too of how it looked like when I was putting it together. All right. Pretty straightforward stuff. It's pretty easy to do. Okay. Now let's talk about the heat source. The heat source I have, these are Quartz Heaters. There's 2 of them, and they just set inside here. And if you can see, basically space garage heaters are what they are. They work really well. I've got 2 of them in here. You can, the smaller you make your area and whatever your climate is will dictate how many of these you need. So basically trial and error is what I recommend. To kind of let you know what I do, I live here in Houston, so it gets super hot in the summertime, 100 degrees with 80% humidity sometimes. So I only use one, because if I turn both of these on, they're going to burn the shirts and it's going to get too hot. Now during the winter time, I can turn both of them on and it cures just fine. If you start having problems with your shirts not curing all the way through, you may have to do a couple things. One thing is you may have to decrease the height of this, meaning cut it down a little bit, so that way your elements are lower, or you may have to take an element and maybe drop it inside your box. That's an option too. But I wanted to show you guys this. This is my DIY dryer that I've had for 5 years, and it's worked really well for me. Just kind of want to share this information with you guys. Again, check the descriptions below for the parts I used for this build. And it does really good. My dryer's done really good. It's been really good for me. I've had no issues. The only problem I've had is, like I said earlier, I had to replace one of these. But that's not bad for using this almost every day. So, anyways, hopefully you like this video. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the section below. And we'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye.